Well, hello everybody. Welcome to a not midnight yet podcasting. I'm Andrew Dukowitz. For people who aren't sick of hearing my voice yet, good Lord, have we been on a pod heater between 3 games and 4 nights. Sloan coming on yesterday. I was on CLNS yesterday as well. I still have a voice, but you know who hasn't been podding every single day? It's Terry Horstman from the Nine.
You noticed, huh? Haven't been potting much. Been writing a lot. I will have a new Lynx happy hour by the end of this week, so I promise that's coming. But no, my voice is very rested and feeling powerful and ready to go. So if you need to tap out at any point, I got you.
Okay, good. It's good to know that I have a backup, and I can just drop. And
you're one of the best in the biz, so you'll be fine.
Well, Jude mentions it. Kayla steals the game. Government name Kayla. I am expecting at some point to see just Kayla McBride jerseys, but customized, so it just says Government McBride on the back. I think that's dope. Hasn't happened yet. Maybe too soon. But
it's definitely something there.
The largest blown lead in WNBA history tonight. Yeah. How was being at the game, Terry?
Well, being at the game was amazing, and I didn't get the chance to sneak this in at the end of the press conference, but K-Mac mentioned the incredible atmosphere here, and I do think that is the most appreciative applause I've seen for starting lineups of a visiting team. So that's when we talk about this game and being there. Yeah, the Fire Pit made a great first impression. Lots of fun. They were in it even when they were down 29. So definitely a good first impression for me. So yeah, all good things. I feel like you and I should probably do a good cop, bad cop here tonight, and I'm calling dibs on the good cop. So, but yeah, it was very fun, and I love Portland so much. So it was just great to be here, and yeah, focus on the good things about this league and what's going on right now. You know, why can't we do that?
I mean, there's a lot of good things going on in this league.
So many.
So many. Lynx offense in the first half, really good at everything.
Yeah.
A couple magnet ball, Kayla McBride threes. Fee was awesome. Second half, yeesh. Which, I mean, you were at the press conference. Cheryl, I think, hit it pretty well on the head of just Portland started playing harder. I don't know if harder is the right word, but like tougher.
It
seemed
accurate.
More annoying to play them in the second half. I guess, what was your read on just the complete Jekyll and Hyde type of game that we saw?
Yeah, well, I think when you're in that position too, it's kind of like, all right, we're not going to win this game unless we just do absolutely everything. So you can sell out on trappings, sell out on pressing, just sell out on everything, and you get some deflections. You know, suddenly a couple other players go cold, and then you get that. You know, that first, I not to like say like, oh, I saw us coming, but like the first 6-0 run from the Fire offense, like it felt weird. Like when the lead was down to like 23-21, it was like, okay, like the momentum's completely shifted. And, you know, a couple, you know, bad passes, yet Jude BC just took control. I agree. She was everywhere. So yeah, I think you start just like taking a lot of risks and hope that all of them work. And I think all of them did. I don't think we need to bail out the Lynx in this regard. But you could tell like the Fire were playing with an energetic abandon. And I'm sorry, it's so hard not to use puns with a team that's named the Fire, but they were playing with their hair on fire, and that expression was perfect. And yeah, Cheryl talks about being difficult to play against all the time, and they did that. And so I think you just kind of tip your hat and remind yourself you still won this game, and move forward and try to, you know, never let it happen again.
Yeah, it's Sloan was on the pod yesterday, and she was saying towards the end of the season, what she's looking for the most out of the Lynx is like that killer instinct to come back, where they get up by 20 and they just win it by 20. And there's no more of these crazy kind of comebacks. And I'm not going to lie, end of the first half, I was like, hey, maybe Sloan got her point across.
Just
And then 11 points in the third quarter, not a particularly great, scoring fourth quarter either, just 17. They didn't score until the 5-minute mark in the fourth quarter. It just felt weird. And I
yeah.
don't know if that's how it translated seeing it in person too, but on the TV, the thing I kept going back to was just Fee for large swaths of that fourth quarter was sitting at 6 for 10 shooting for 18 points. And like at some point, you just got to get Fee back involved. I mean,
Yeah.
I know there's so many options, but it did feel like she just kind of drifted out of the game.
Right. And her touches in the first quarter too is like, oh yeah, this is this team's first time seeing Napheesa Collier. Like they don't have a, oh, last time we played, she did this,
Mm-hmm.
um, and that really felt. And I don't think anyone was trying to point a finger at officials, but where I think it was frustrating, there was some like, all
Cheryl
right,
did point a finger at officials.
give it, but not all of the fingers, Joe. Though, just like one, like where like Fee obviously deserves a better whistle. We've always known this. It's been a thing. This isn't new. We don't need to belabor the point. But it was kind of just like, all right, you just need to like let her do it. And then there's a couple times where they did just play really good defense on Fee.
Mm-hmm.
But it, like I mentioned, when it was like the lead was like 19, obviously you're still in good shape. But it was just like, God, they just need a bucket. And that's when it's almost like flipping a coin where Courtney takes what we always call a bad shot on like a contested long two, but it just goes in so often. And then she had one that rimmed out when I think the lead had been cut to 13. And I was just kind of keeping track of like, it's been 6 minutes in the third. It was like 8:14 to 2:05 without points. Not
Yep.
like, oh, they couldn't get anything to drop, but they got to the foul line and sank a cut. Like that was without points. And that's just crazy for this team. And even they got a couple buckets. Liv finally got downhill and had a clean finish at the rim. And that didn't open the floodgates for the offense to get back into it. And they escaped.
Which, I mean, again, credit to the Lynx, 85-81. They win the game. That's
Hey.
the most important thing, right? Like,
Yes,
I
it
do
is.
think there is something to like, you're riding high off of the Aces and Wings game. You've won 12 out of 13 at that time. Now 13 out of 14. You're going to Portland, and like on the horizon are the Golden State games coming up. You also have a game with the Aces next week. I mean, I don't think there's a possibility that a Cheryl Reeve led team would overlook an opponent, but when you're up 29 going into halftime, it did kind of feel like, as people are saying, as Jeremy says in the chat here, they just kind of let their foot off the gas a little bit, which I mean, that is something this team has had a habit of doing at times.
Yeah, and that's definitely fair. And I think a way to have done it was like once Portland was like, okay, we're going to pick you up 94 feet. We're going to turn this thing up to 11. You kind of go like, all right, bet, and just match that pressure, especially when things aren't, not necessarily working. Though I don't know if playing more desperate would have been good. It kind of felt like they were desperate for a bucket. The 3-point shooting was interesting because it's, they couldn't get anything to go. They're 6 of 11 in the first half and 0 for 9 in the second half. And I'm kind of surprised they didn't attempt more in the second half. Like the Tony minutes when she was out there. I know people are talking about the bench. Looked like they were just like kind of hoping to get a Tony open 3-pointer. She took one. I don't know if it was that great of a look. So yeah, and I'm never like team just like keep chucking it until they go in. Only take threes. They're the higher value shot. I don't love that kind of basketball. But yeah, sort of like stopping at 9. It kind of felt like, oh, they're not going in, so we're not doing this.
Felt that really strong in the fourth, where it seemed like, in a way, I do kind of appreciate it that Liv, K-Mac, Fee even were just diving at the rim trying to get to the foul line if they weren't going to make a shot. But like when the fouls aren't being called either,
Yeah,
you
there
kinda
weren't
need to
many.
swing the ball a little bit more.
Yeah. You
I,
see 1 hour and 54 minutes. It's a sub 2 hour game. You know that means that they weren't calling shit.
no, they weren't
Which is
on
sometimes
either
great.
team.
Sometimes great, not always. It's not an exact
Which
science.
I mean, if you're just looking at like the total fouls, 35 fouls in a 40-minute game, I mean, that hits my mark of let's not call a foul a minute, but still 35 is quite a bit. But like 5 of those were just in like garbage time. There was some just weird, like, let's call 3 fouls in 2 minutes type of things.
Yeah.
It's
They
a
weren't the
really
most
weird game all around.
they weren't the most time consuming fouls. There was only one review and they got to it pretty quick.
Yeah.
It also looked like I thought the Lynx were going to be screwed there because, and they didn't. I didn't see many angles in the arena. Maybe on TV was better, but when
It did not look like Liv got fouled.
right, I thought I was like, okay, that looks pretty clean, and Liv missed a shot, but it went right to Tosh, who is unguarded, like at the basket, but whistle blew, and you overturn it, the Lynx would still get the ball, but that's one of those just. You can't have both, and it's like, man, that would have just been a 2-point gift, and call stood and Liv made the free throws. So no harm, no foul. But I guess there was a foul, but that was a really weird play, and I guess props to them for reviewing it quickly, because they don't do that very often, no matter how obvious.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That one, I wonder if there was a central replay command center like we're gonna have next week. If that
maybe there is a shadow command center right now that's just like, hey, it's this, do it.
A couple people are Jeremy. I do see your question about fee. I want to get to that at some point here, but a couple people have been mentioning the bench. Also, what the heck is going on with Ola? I did not listen to pregame today. Did anyone ask about Ola or Chloe for that matter?
On Ola, no. We talked about what you asked about Ola in the last in-person practice, and this summation that it's just like, yeah, minutes are hard, and the team.
That's what I took from it, was just like, yeah,
basically fully healthy, and Chloe's on the trip, and I think is just being eased into things. And yeah, Ola is not getting any minutes, and I would imagine Ola in practice is not necessarily suggesting being a player who should get minutes over Nia Coffey. Over Dorka, though, I don't know. It's strange because it's not like this is I don't know what the best bench in WNBA history is, but this is not it. And
no.
You'd think maybe there'd be a shot to see what it would look like, but I just think she's made even more redundant by Fee starting, Nia's off the bench, and the bigs are already a little short, so Ola kind of just is like an extension of that.
Yeah, I mean, just look at the minutes tonight. I mean, Fee plays 33, Tosh plays 28. That gives you 12 plus 7 is 19. Nia plays 13 of those 19. Dorka plays 7. That's your entire big rotate. That's even a minute more than your entire big rotation.
And I liked the bench minutes in the first half.
Yeah,
I think we liked everything in the first half.
I could be wrong on this because I didn't write it down in my notes, but I don't believe the bench scored in the second half.
They did not.
They went into the first half with 9, and then they finished with 9.
With 9. Yep, that's correct.
Which not great. No. I mean, I would like to see Ola just because I'm one of the leaders of the Olakosu fan club, I would assume, at this point. But at the same time, it's like I do understand giving Dorka every opportunity, because if Dorka can work her way out of, whatever rust or funk or whatever it is, it's just that they don't have anything like Dorka on roster. They don't have a 6'5", 6'6" big that can shoot, pass pretty well, defend the rim pretty well. The issue is just Dorka has not looked very good this year. So how long do you continue to keep giving that leash before you do turn to a Kosu. And I'll be honest, I don't even know if it's turning to Kosu. Maybe it's they just experiment with this until the FIBA break, and then coming back from FIBA, it's just Nia, Tosh, and Fee, and that's it.
Yeah, and that might be it. About 5 second half attempts for the bench total.
That's tough.
Yeah. And I mean, they were cold as well, too. You know, like Nia's not going to go 1 for 6 very often. And certainly 1 for 6 from 3 collectively across, you know, all of them, you know, have the ability to hit that shot. So, not to say that there's, you know, absolutely nothing there, but it just kind of felt like, uh-oh, well, things are going poorly. We're not going to put 3 of these in at the same time and expect things to go better. So yeah, definitely a strange night, strange one to try and make sense of. But I do kind of think it's a choose your own adventure. Like, who just said this in the chat? You guys are killing it. But yeah, Timber Who's first half was beautiful. Second half, whole different story. You can choose which story you want to read before bed tonight. You know, sometimes it is a night where you need to read the, you know, the depressing, harder stuff, and sometimes, you know, you just need to watch Veep. And that first half was season 1 of Veep. So, you know, binge the first half highlights, Lynx fans. You've earned it. And you get a whole day off before prep for Vegas on Saturday.
Yeah. And okay, I'm going to summarize it for you about Kosa being in Cheryl jail. I think part of it is like what Terry was saying is Cheryl's at every practice. I don't know if fans know this, but Cheryl does attend every practice. And like non-sarcastically, if you're not crushing it in practice, you're not going to get minutes. Like we saw it last year with Masha. Masha's diving all over in practice. Masha's doing all the right things. She starts getting minutes at the end of the season, ends up being a good player in the playoffs. I don't know if that's the full story with Ola. I think whatever you want to believe, like I think it's probably 60 or 70%. They just don't have minutes. Again, tonight they had 19 minutes to give to the post, and they gave 20 minutes to Nia and Dorka. That's kind of just it. You can't. They learned last year you can't really play Ola at the 3. It's just limiting, I think, especially with this offense. If you're gonna have like Tosh in there, it's just tough. And honestly, like Nia, I think is the better 4 than Ola is theoretically. Couple of people have brought up Chloe Bibby. That's my conspiracy theory, is that Bibby is the more likely Dorka insurance if Dorka doesn't work out, because Bibby's a sharpshooter from 3, has won quite a bit over in Europe, knows how to play as a small ball 5. Like it makes more sense than a 21-year-old Ola Kosu. And I say that being, again, one of the leaders of the Ola Kosu is going to be great fan club. But Terry, what are your thoughts?
Well, and just to keep on that, let's emphasize the 21-year-old part of that sentiment. There aren't really 21-year-olds getting minutes across the league. It's few and far between. You know, she's the 5th youngest player in the league. So if you want to be like, well, Awa Fam's not even 20, and look what Awa Fam's doing. It's just like, all right, let's, you know, comparison is the thief of joy for a reason. Like
also Seattle's lost 14 straight games,
and yes, Seattle's lost 14 straight. So yeah, but compare away in that regard. And yeah, I think it'd be in certain scenarios where, because I love seeing Fee at the 5, and so you can do that, and then you could put Ola in at the 4. But I'm kind of liking the Fee Nia minutes, Fia, I think we can call them. So it's just it's tough. And like I don't think, you know, when it was 29 and then it was 21 and then it was 13 and then it was 8 and then it was 2, I certainly wasn't like, all right, like call up Kosu, that will stop this run immediately. And but you never know, like I think that would have not, again, it's impossible not to make puns, but that would have been kind of the fighting fire with fire. If you're like, okay, so let's play our chaos ball. and see what happens. I'm not saying they should have, but that's the logic. So the people who are calling for more minutes for her, yeah, I get it. But I also think on any great team, when you have a young player who's not playing, we're just going to have this conversation, especially when you reach the point where the roster is nearly fully available. And earlier in the season, that it was the opposite of that.
I also just think as playoffs get closer, especially after that FIBA break, like this rotation's going to get trimmed to 7 or 8. Like we've seen Cheryl in the playoffs enough. Like it's going to be the 5 starters, Nia, and then probably Maya, and that's
And
maybe
yeah,
it. And then it's Dorka, and some nights it's maybe Tony gets a sniff at it, Alishka maybe, but like I do think it is coming to that time where Cheryl needs to just figure out who her 8s are. And if she's already decided, hey, Ola's not going to be one of my 8, then it doesn't really make sense to give the minutes, especially she's under contract next year. Like you said, 5th youngest player in the league. I would assume next year is probably going to be the summer of Ola. But right now, I personally, Andrew Dukowitz, would like to see it. I can't really fault Cheryl at all for not doing it.
yeah, I'm with you.
Yes.
Yes,
Correct.
Should we do an ad read? No, this is your show.
Let's throw it over to a quick ad read, though. When we come back, I do want to talk more fee, because I did feel like this game was very reminiscent of that 2024 season of fee, where it just seemed like sometimes you're just almost begging for her to take more initiative and just take over the game. Also want to talk about Olivia Miles and the defensive side, because it's becoming a sample size of yikes moments on defense. But first, ads. Well, hello. Thank you, Livestream Andrew. This is Ad Read Andrew. And today we have Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, the presenting sponsor for the Missing Links podcast. Firehawk Construction and Remodeling strives to inspire people to follow their ideas, working with respect and understanding to create a quality, tailored result. Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, located in Blaine and serving in the North Metro area, is here to help you with your building and remodeling needs. I can say personally, thanks to Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, I have a beautiful deck in my backyard, and countless projects that I started, they finished. Get started on your new deck or remodel today by calling Isaac at 763-710-5686. And we're back with another ad read, this time for Pence Homes, the presenting sponsor of Hitting the Hardwood Network. From the best tools and technology to transparency throughout the entire process, Nate Pence and the Pence Homes team is the top choice for buyers, sellers, and is proud to support you and your home ownership goals. Get started today by calling 612-308-1122 or by emailing info@pencehomes.com. Terry, let's get this out of the way first, because Dustin asked a good question, and I don't want to forget about him. Can we talk about Elena?
Before I sign off, so
I know next to nothing other than she signed a development contract, which means she's probably not going to play at all this year. But she is a 22-year-old Spanish point guard that has been professional since she was 14. So you're getting a 8-year veteran as a 22-year-old.
Yeah.
Other than that, I have not dug a ton into it, just because I know she's not going to get minutes. But Terry, any insight that you have?
And won't be eligible for the playoffs. I know real ones know at this point, but as we go through this season where dev players are still a thing for the first time, I know that hasn't reached everyone. So definitely, I think a play for getting someone into your system, your program. You can use this to become more familiar with each other. It'll be kind of an extended tryout next season for her. I did, when I was heading to shoot around today here in Portland, I texted Olivia Serby, Lynx PR, like, hey, is Elena with the team? I was excited to talk to her, and she's not here yet. I was told that ETA is still TBD, so I wouldn't anticipate her making her debut on this road trip. Maybe she'll join the team at some point on this trip. Yeah, but Valencia, that's a good club in Spain. Lots of youth national team experience as well. You mentioned being a professional, and the Spaniards play beautiful basketball. So, just color me intrigued by following her. I hope she shows well, and then that's a really fun training camp story for next season. But yeah, definitely interested to see her join the team sometime soon, and to get a chance to talk with her and learn more soon.
Reminds me a lot of Jalen Sherrod last year, where it's like
Mm-hmm.
Jalen gets picked up from the Liberty, comes in, gets kind of didn't get a ton of minutes, but was with the team. They can kind of look and see what she's like, how she can develop, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Training camp next year, or
Yeah.
training camp last year, I guess Jalen's on there, ends up not making the roster, but like, I don't know, these European players are just going to be super valuable moving forward.
Well,
And Rachel Galligan, I believe, is
yep.
their international scout. Like, she
Yeah.
has crushed
Shout
it
out
so
Rachel.
far.
Yeah, Rachel knows when people say someone's forgotten more about basketball than I'll ever know. That doesn't even scratch the surface with Rachel. So I'll get eager to see what she saw in this one, and yeah, maybe we'll get Rachel on our pods to talk a little bit more.
I mean,
And
would
another
we
player to
even have
observe
to
in
go through
FIBA.
the team? I think we could just text her.
Yeah, we could.
We'll see what happens.
Right.
We'll try and let's try and get Rachel on a pod. That would be fun, just because her life,
Especially during FIBA too. Like, I mean, she's probably super busy, but oh shit, my credential fell off. Oh no, what if they kick me out?
Let's talk a little bit of Fee first, because Jeremy mentions it. Can't call her Queen Fee. Hesitant to take over the fourth. Yada yada yada. Goals to win a championship. Need her take over when team needs her the most. That's kind of been the sentiment from a couple other chats so far. And honestly, I just remember Cheryl in 2024 talking about that quite a bit, of her needing to have conversations with Fee of like, hey, you kind of just got to do the superstar thing sometimes and just demand the ball. And if you're going to have 9 shots in the fourth quarter, everyone's going to be fine with it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's because she's working her way back, or if it's because of just, Liv is a more ball dominant guard.
Could be.
Not saying she's a ball hogging guard, but like, everything starts with Liv.
Mm-hmm.
It did feel tonight, at least, like it was that 2024 season with Fee, where it's just like, you just put a clinic on in the first quarter. There is not a bad Fee shot on the court.
Yeah, and I mean, we can look through this through the guise of her entire career with the Lynx, or we can just look at it tonight in where I think her taking over would have involved going into her more down low, and Portland was playing very well and very physical, and the refs were not calling that. So Fee, being one of the smartest players in the league too, isn't going to just, if I'm not getting this call, I'm not going to just like keep doing the same thing, and yeah, so I wouldn't be too worried, especially since she's working her way back as well. But yeah, you do in a game like this where it's just like, okay, everything is going wrong for an extended period of time, and like we just need 6 straight points from our best player, and then we're fine. And that, you see that a lot. We've seen Fee do that a lot. And I mean, she took that 3. Maybe people feel different if that goes down. So yeah, I'm not worried about this aspect of it. If there's like a few more games to point to where like to see right there is when it should have happened, then yeah, and I'll be interested to see that in the playoffs too. But I haven't felt that was a thing in the playoffs in either of these last few seasons. I think she's gotten the ball plenty, and has been vocal. So yeah, and when the team's stacked too, there's so many options, and they were exhausting all of them tonight, and almost did run out of gas. So we'll see, but I don't think that's sort of Achilles heel that some might think it is.
I'm not ready to overreact yet. Like
Okay.
I am in the same camp as
You're going to
you.
overreact in the next segment. We already know
Yeah,
that's coming.
the next segment
You've
I
teased
will
it, yeah.
overreact it. But this one, like, she still scored 20. She was still the leading scorer, 7 of 11. She gets the ball, goes to the free throw line, clanked one, unfortunately, but like made the other one. I mean, you look back at like the Aces game, she was pretty heroic in that fourth quarter. Olivia Miles obviously gets the like blow by layup to kind of seal it, but Fee also hit some good shots.
Yeah.
Third quarter of that Wings game, Fee goes 3 for 3 from the 3-point line, drills some crucial buckets to kind of get that one rolling in the right direction. Like I would it be ideal if Fee was sitting there and demanding the ball and saying like I need an ISO on the block? I don't know if that would be necessarily the best with this team, especially when you have K-Mac, Court, and Liv, who are all like capable scorers. But I do think there is going to be a moment, whether it's down the stretch of this season or in the playoffs, where like they're really going to need Fee to just do superstar shit, for lack of a better phrase. I still remember her, playoff series last year before she got hurt, and the playoffs in 2024 where she was averaging a point a minute. Like I just don't think she needs to do that on this team yet.
Right. And yeah, and I think she kind of did take over in the very first game back too. That's that second season. The second half against Seattle. Yeah, I don't think there's a trend of anything discouraging here happening. And like, I think Dustin Fee did touch the ball in the drought. I think everyone did got some touches, and just no one really had the answer to, maybe use a whole shot clock and get a bucket at the end of it. That usually just sort of this season seems to be a K-Mac 3. But yeah, I think we can, belabor the third and fourth quarter of this game to the death and not be satisfied with whatever you find. I think the answer is everyone needs to be better. And it's easy to go like, oh, well, when in the playoffs, like, yes, but there's still, now we got 9 games left in the season before the playoffs. And even you look at every championship team ever, you can find pieces, much worse pieces than this. It was still a win, folks. And be like, oh yeah, like if they had done that in the playoffs, but they didn't because they were championship teams. So I wouldn't overreact to too much even now at game number 35, but just, file these things away, keep an eye on them. That's part of the work.
Well, and that's, again, if they weren't 13 of their last 14 games being wins, I think we can look at this and be like, yeah, Fee does need to kind of take control of it. But like at the same time, it's just kind of like they're pulling these games out, which 9 games left, 8 of them are now against playoff teams. We're going to find out a ton about what this looks like going into it. And maybe we find out that she does need to be more of the like alpha and take it from Liv. Maybe we find out that they're just blowing through these teams anyways, kind of like they did against the Aces the last time. I do have one thing though, before we get out of here, that is something that I have officially risen my eyebrows about.
The position defense, you hold in the Ola Kosu fan club camp, you are the equivalent of that on this.
Liv's defense, I am just going to say, over the last 7 or 8 games has been
7 or 8.
I would say it is up there with the worst defense. Not in the league, but like by far the worst defense we've seen her play.
Sure. You think it's the stretch is that long?
I think it goes back to like mid-July. Okay. I'm going to be actually writing about it for next week, so I'm going to dig into more of the film of it. But there's just a lot of things that she The best way I can compare it is honestly to Anthony Edwards, which I know WNBA, NBA comparisons
Sure.
aren't people's favorite things, but both of
Adidas
them are
number
these
fives.
dynamic offensive players that are awesome. And Liv can rise to a defensive level that is like good, if not great, when she is locked in and like prepared to do so in her own mind. But very often she's not rotating. She's letting stuff go behind her on plays. The ISO stuff has been starting to get pretty tough. And it's something that I'm honestly pretty a little bit concerned of at this point, because guards are you're going to have to play a guard in every round of the playoffs now in the WNBA. And I just don't know what you do, especially in a Cheryl defense where you really can't have too many weak links. I guess where are you sitting at it though? Because I admittedly turnovers and defensive stuff are like my two Achilles heels. I value those things so much higher than I
Yeah.
probably should.
Well, I'd say, you know, I'm in the concerned camp. Is that as demonstrative I get on this? I'd say, yeah, it is concerning. I do think it's maybe, I don't know enough to point to whether it's individualistic or if it's the collective in what Chuck Turch. Do you think there's any relation between Fee's return and Liv's defense? I think it's a great question, and I don't know, and I don't think we'd get that answer. But I think, you know, defense is such a collective thing, and I think part of it too is everyone kind of expected it to be bad. Everyone who was projecting before the season started, and then when it wasn't bad, it's like, oh, this is just what it is. And now I think there is some teams are figuring it out, and there are some tough possessions, some bad rotations, and then there are some, you know, crash outs at the rim on offense, go flying past the photographers, don't get the call, and then the other team has numbers. Those stick out, and I think it's easy to watch those possessions and, you know, see that. But also, I noticed a lot of people not getting back on defense in that Sparks game last week, and also in the second half tonight. And so, without going back and revisiting the film, I'm not gonna, you know, put that responsibility on anyone. But I'd say yes, that is the thing that needs to just be a blip and not a recurring issue.
And I think part of this comes from what you said. Like, we expected Liv to not be very good. Cheryl assured us, like, hey, Liv's never going to want to be like the weak link. We can work with this. And then she was honestly really good for most of the beginning of the season. Like, she was the second most attacked player in pick and roll, and she was holding up pretty well. I do think some of it is just teams figure out how to scheme. I do think teams have figured out that if they just inbound the ball really fast and push pace, especially after like Lynx makes, there's a lot of meat on the bone, as Cheryl talked about tonight, that, you know, the kick ahead passes. I even think BC had one in the fourth quarter. I want to say like Max scored, and then BC's just way out in front. Like, those things aren't necessarily like Liv issues, but they are like, if you're the point guard, you do have to kind of get back there like really quick, especially on fast break opportunities. There's a reason why you always see like people getting like cooked in transition that are usually smaller. It's because the point guards are usually top of the key when a shot gets put up. It's your job to run back, which Gene mentions lots of not getting back. But I do think what I will
There's a lot
say,
of not getting back.
what I will say about this is, like, one of my biggest complaints about WNBA coverage, and I'm going to use Caitlin Clark as an example, is that we sometimes forget that people can have holes in their games and still be awesome players, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't talk about the holes in their game. And like right now, the biggest hole in Liv's game is the defense, which as a Lynx fan, you should be pumped about, because that's like one of the easier things to fix is defense. It's just like knowing positioning and effort. It's been something that I've been noticing a lot, especially in person. I don't know why it looks more jarring in person. Maybe it's just because you're closer to the action. You can kind of see it a little differently. But
Mm-hmm.
I do think that is something that if it comes playoff time and this team in general isn't locked in, but Liv specifically, if she's not kind of figured out how to handle the Kelsey Mitchells of the world or the Jackie Young, not Jackie Young, she probably wouldn't be on her, the Chelsea Grays, I was going to say Kelsey Plum, but looks like the Mercury aren't going to make it.
No,
The
they will not be.
Sabrinas, like if she's not kind of equipped to handle those, which I honestly, again, defense is usually more mental or like physical than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to be tough for them to manage that stuff.
Yeah, but that part was always going to be tough, and I'm just not at the point where I don't trust the system and what we've seen at the peak of it. So yeah, and I think there is this Cheryl's mentioned this stretch as a sprint before the FIBA break, and I think you want to get to the FIBA break healthy, win most of these upcoming games until then, and then you can reset. And I do think that rest for her will be huge. I don't know who mentioned it just now, but
Got it up
going
on the screen. That was where I
yeah
was going to go next.
going straight from the Elite Eight into WNBA training camp into the WNBA season. Yeah, it's tough, and like you mentioned, Caitlin, there was a second chapter of that post international break season where you could see the rest really helped. So yeah, I think it's like you have my attention. I don't
Mhm.
think you have my fear or worries about it, but yeah, I think it's fair to point to it now, and we will see how she attacks it and uses it to get better.
Raheem has an awesome point here. Luckily, Cheryl gets another training camp after FIBA break. The theme will
Right.
be defense. Yes, it will. And I will say that's the thing in the back of my mind that I keep thinking about with Liv, especially, is just defense is hard. It's a lot of hard
Hmm.
work. It's a lot of calories. She is being asked to run the number 2 offense in the league constantly.
Hmm.
And she hasn't had more than a week and a half off since September. Like, I do think a lot of it is just fatigue, and hopefully that bears out. She comes back from the FIBA break. They play what? Liberty, Fever, and then Connecticut's in there. I mean,
It's Liberty Fever Connecticut. No, Liberty Connecticut Fever.
Liberty, Connecticut, Fever. I mean, if she's right back into it after the FIBA break, like,
Hmm.
awesome. Then
Yeah.
then we can just say, oh, she was tired, and we can move on with our lives. But it's just something I've been noticing. Let's see here. 43 minutes in, Terry, you're just in a closet somewhere in Portland, so you probably want to go do anything else. Anything you have coming out this week, though? Where can people find your stuff?
Um,
I didn't
yes,
even say where you were from when you joined. I just
that's
assumed.
okay. Well, I mean, we do work together here at Hitting the Hardwood. Also, you can find my written work at the Nine Sports. The Nine, that's the ixsports.com. Just had a feature on KMAC published yesterday. I'm going to write something about this road trip. I think by Friday I should have something at Hitting the Hardwood as well. Just yeah, writing like crazy these days. And we'll have another episode of the Lynx Happy Hour podcast later this week. You can find me on Blue Sky at Terry Horstman. And on Instagram, that one's at Terrence Horstman. Don't ask me why it's different. And yeah,
Government.
other actually Terry's the government name.
Really?
Terry, well, yeah. The real name's Terry, and I just another Terry Horstman. I didn't know there were many. Beat me to Instagram, so I had to be different. So, yeah, Terrence Horstman on Instagram, at Terry Horstman, pretty much everywhere else, and the9sports.com.
Awesome. Well, if you joined into this late, it does get posted up on YouTube and X as soon as Twitter. I'm going to go back to calling it Twitter. X just feels weird. YouTube and Twitter as
In the
soon
golden
as.
days.
What's that? Who?
In the golden days of Twitter, back when it was just Twitter.
Will be up as soon as I end stream here. It'll be out as a live stream podcast thing on Spotify, Apple, anywhere you get your podcasts. Also, there's one up there from today with Sloan Martin talking Lynx, calling Olivia Miles, like how much thought she puts into like I'm going to be on highlight tapes forever. Also talked about koalas and how they give people chlamydia. So that's an episode you probably don't want to miss. But yeah, that's all I know. Terry, I appreciate you, man. Everyone who listened, appreciate you as well. We'll be back after the Aces game.
Thanks, everybody.